What's up, everybody? You're watching the official Joselyn's Cabaret New York after show only on Damien After Dark. I'm so excited you guys are here. We got so many things to talk about regarding this episode, and you better believe we're going to talk about it, okay? First of all, before we begin, make sure you get subscribed by clicking the subscribe button right below this video. Also, make sure you press the thumbs up button as well and like this video and show your support that way. You can also support the channel by donating to the channel by clicking the description box below. My Amazon wish list is down there as well, and I appreciate all the support. I want to say a special thank you to my subscriber, Lori, who sent me some things on my Amazon wish list, and I got all that this week. Every day it was like Christmas, so I want to say a special shout out to her for that, okay? So, let's get into this episode because this episode was a good one, and I really enjoyed it, and it made up for last season's boring episode where we had to watch the lesbian love triangle telenovela play out. Don't get me wrong. I'm invested in these girls and I like these girls, but I just didn't need an entire episode centered around Precious, Holiday, and what they had going on, okay? So, we all know at this point that Joseline and just beat Big Lex's ass in real time on the show. She's gone to jail in Miami. Now, back home in New York City, the girls in the cabaret are finding out. The girls in the cabaret are finding out what's going on. Precious, Wet, and Spin, they're in one room talking about it. And I agree with Spin when she says she doesn't understand why Big Lex would be at the event anyway. And I was wondering that as well. I'm like, why are you at this event where you know Joseline is headlining? Now, granted, I'm not saying that Big Lex can't go where she wants to go, right? I'm not saying Big Lex can't do what she wants to do when she wants to do it. Obviously, she can. But it's no secret that Big Lex and Joseline have had this ongoing beef, this ongoing back and forth social media, more so on Big Lex's end, from what I've seen. I've seen more so her talking on Twitter. When I see you, it's up, all this stuff like that. So why would you go to an event that Joseline is performing at? You know she's going to be there. It's almost like Big Lex was asking for trouble. Just saying. Do y'all agree with me on that? Do you feel like Big Lex went to the event to cause trouble? Because one girl even mentioned, I think it was T-Love. T-Love, I think she said she even had the theory that Big Lex went to the event on purpose, wanting Joseline to whoop her ass so she could sue her. Which could make sense and would actually be kind of smart. I mean, emotional distress, hospital bills, physical, whatever. You know what I'm saying? She could sue her. Now, Wet says, I see why Joseline called Lucky a traitor. Because apparently after the fight, Lucky goes online and makes a post regarding the fight. And she says, for the record, I'm not in Miami. I found out just like y'all did. What happened tonight was wild as fuck. And best believe I got my girls back 100%. A lot of y'all on here just chatting. So this is what Lucky said in response to the Big Lex and the Joseline fight. Keep in mind, we know Lucky's been a part of the cabaret up until this moment, right? Now, Wet and the girls are questioning Lucky and her loyalty. But haven't I said from the get-go, haven't I told y'all from the moment this season started that Lucky was not there for the cabaret? Lucky was not there because she wanted to hang out with Daisy or she wanted to be friends with these girls. Lucky was there for the money, the bag, the check, the exposure, the platform. I told y'all this. It only made sense. She wasn't there for the cabaret. She wasn't there because she wanted to be friends with Joseline. And the producers wanted her there. And this now explains a lot of the animosity that Joseline had towards Lucky, because I kept saying, what did Lucky do to you, Joseline? Why are you so upset? But now it makes sense, okay? It makes sense. Joseline never wanted Lucky on the show to begin with. And think about it. Why would she cast her if she didn't want her? Producers. The producers wanted a lot of the OG girls back. The Daisies, the Luckies, the Miss Naturals, the Yummies. They wanted them back. So Joseline's over here like, no, I don't want her back. But producers are like, Joseline, we really need her for this show. We need all the OG girls back. We want, we want to bring something different to this season. So that's really why Joseline's been so salty. She knows Lucky don't fuck with her. Lucky knows she don't fuck with Joseline. They both know that, but it's really just a business transaction between two business women, and I ain't mad at them. Joseline knew it was good for TV to have Lucky on. Lucky knew it was good for her to go on and get that check. They bounce and go about their business. That's my theory to it. That's my theory to it. It explains why Joseline was always treating Lucky like shit and telling her to get out, only for Lucky to come back. Because she would tell Lucky to get out, and then Lucky would come back. And she would tell her to leave and get out again, and she would come back. That wasn't because Lucky wanted to. Producers was getting their money's worth out of Lucky. But the last straw was the fight. Lucky said the last straw was seeing Big Lex get jumped and beat on by Joseline, Ballistic, and Melissa. And two, this was Lucky's third season back on the Cabaret. That was a big check. That was a big bag that she got. We also learned in this scene that last week, after the whole lesbian love affair telenovela that happened between Precious and Egypt, they ended up making up and fucking the same night because Wet Wet says she heard them screaming and hollering in their bedroom, which Precious says it was Holiday who was doing all the screaming and hollering. But just wanted to throw that in there, that they did make up after everything we had to watch last season and all the boo-hooing and she don't want me and all that shit. Now T-Love, Holiday, and Egypt, they're in the dining room and they're talking about the fight. They're talking about Joseline being in jail. They're discussing all the dirt, everything that's going on. And they also bring up the fact that Abby left the house. Abby left the Cabaret. She bounced in the middle of the night. Nobody heard from her. She just bounced and left. But Abby said in a confessional that one of her siblings had a bad accident and she had to get home. Now, all the girls are speculating why she could have left. T-Love thinks it's a culture difference and that, she's never been around black girls before and we're all, we fighting every day and it's intimidating to her. And I don't think that was it. And even Abby said herself it wasn't it, obviously. But that never crossed my mind that that's what it was. I think T-Love just thinks people are scared of her. Ain't nobody scared of you, T-Love. Nobody's scared of you, mama. How do y'all feel about Abby leaving? Make sure you join the conversation below. Let us know in the comments. I want to hear from you. How do you feel about Abby leaving? Do you think Abby brought a lot to the show and you're going to miss her? Or is Abby more so like, you don't really care? She was like a wallflower. I actually am going to miss Abby because I think she was refreshing and she kind of brought some balance because she was there for the other girls and she would listen to them and talk to them and try to be a source of, a shoulder, try to be a shoulder to cry on. I'm trying to be that kind of friend. And I enjoyed it. It was refreshing. I liked that she was the first trans woman to be on the Cabaret. I wish she could have stayed around longer. I really do. But I understand why she left. If one of my siblings had been in a serious car accident, I'm getting on a plane. I would try to come back, though. I would just let Joseline and them know, hey, I'm going to be gone for a few days, but I'll be back. Now, the girls start talking about Big Lex and Lucky and the whole situation. And Big Lex, they talk about Lucky doing a Instagram Live. And on the Instagram Live, Lucky is talking about the Big Lex and Joseline fight. And Lucky says, none of that would have gone down like that if I were there. That's what Lucky says. But I'm just like, now, Lucky, I know you want to be there for your friend and you want to say, you want to say that, but I don't know, Mama. If you was there, I don't think much more would have changed. I still think Big Lex would have got handed to her because what are you gonna do if you try to step in ballistic or Melissa just gonna hold you back? I mean, not, yeah, it's nice to talk the talk, but if you was really there, would anything really would have changed? Now, next we get a scene of Daisy. Daisy's walking down the road with Lucky, and Lucky says that, she called Daisy and she wanted to talk to her and tell her why she wanted to leave. In other words, producers told Lucky, "Hey, we want you to do a scene with." Producers told Lucky, "We want you to do a scene with Daisy, telling Daisy what's going on, so the viewers can understand why you're leaving the show." Okay, so we get to see Daisy and we get to see Lucky walking down the road and they're talking, and Lucky tells Daisy that she's leaving. She says her whole experience has been shit and that the Big Lex thing was the last straw. Lucky says she doesn't think Joseline is anybody's friend, and I 1000% agree with her. I don't think there was, even though Joseline and Lucky got back on a good, before this fight, they were on good terms. Remember? They hugged it out. Joseline gave her another chance. But even though they did that, I don't think it was going to be genuine. I think eventually Joseline would have told her to get the fuck out again. I think Lucky knows that. And I think she knew her days were numbered there. I really did. And like Lucky says, Joseline is nobody's friend. She don't care about none of these girls. They're all a pawn in her game. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. Now, me telling y'all that Lucky only did this show for a check, she kind of admitted it tonight in the episode when she was talking to Daisy. She says that Big Lex was supportive of her coming back on the Cabaret. Big Lex told her to do it. Big Lex even told her, if you have to go on there and act like you hate me, do it. She told her to get that bread no matter what. Further confirming that that's the reason why Lucky came on the show. She didn't want to be there. Listen, the producers were trying to manipulate y'all and me and the audience and make us think that Lucky just was begging to be in the Cabaret and she really wanted to be here, and Joseline kept kicking her out and she kept running back, but that wasn't the case. If it was up to Lucky the first time Joseline kicked her out, she would have left with her money and never came back. But producers, Lucky, we need you to try to go back one more time. We're going to talk to Joseline for you. Go in there and talk to her one more time and get back. We want to get some more scenes with you. We want to keep you longer. However, this scene between Daisy and Lucky, I really enjoyed it because Daisy and Lucky go some years back. They've worked in the strip clubs together. They filmed Joseline's Cabaret together, season 1. They've got history together, and I genuinely think that Daisy was sad to see Lucky go because that was her only ally and her only friend in the house, the only girl that she really knew. And she didn't want to see her go. And I think this was a real raw scene. Even though it was set up and produced, I think the interactions between them were so genuine and sincere. Lucky says that Joseline picks girls that are going to follow her every move and every command. And that's true. I mean, she only wants yes men around her, or yes women. Let me say that. She only wants that kind of girls around her because Joseline doesn't like somebody who's going to tell her what she needs to hear, tell her the truth. Look at Diamond and Raven. Those were bobblehead yes men until they couldn't take no more. Until Raven got choked out on the goddamn street corner. Now, Lucky gets in her confessional before she says goodbye, and she says, Joseline, you got to stop degrading women who are there for you. And then Zeus shows 3 different clips of Joseline degrading Lucky. I'm like, okay, Zeus, come on now, expose it all. I'm here for the... See, I thought with this being, Joseline's show, she would have an edit. She would have a say-so over the edit and say, I don't want that in there. But, I mean, hello? They're showing us right in front of our face that she degrades this girl. We see it every episode. We see it every week, right? Further proving Lucky's point. I don't blame her. I would probably quit too. If Big Lex was my good friend like that, even though they met a couple years ago, yes. If she was my good friend like that, I'd probably be done after I seen what Joseline did. Because what Joseline did was gross. It was. You got your security all around you, making sure nobody can touch you while you just brutally beat the hell out of this girl. Now, when Daisy goes in the house, she talks to Spin and Precious, and she tells them, that Lucky is leaving. And Precious says, we know. She was on live talking shit. Talking about Lucky, saying Lucky was on live talking shit. And is it just me, or did y'all hear Precious say, and you were in the video? She accused Daisy of being in that video that Lucky was in talking shit. But I didn't see Daisy in that video. Unless Daisy was the one braiding Lucky's hair. But, I mean, they just kind of skated over that. Maybe I misheard it. But all the girls are pretty much against Lucky at this point, except Daisy. They feel like she's betrayed Joseline. But listen, I'm with Lucky. Like I told y'all, it's about the bag. It's about the money. I'm not going to sit around on a show and keep on pretending to like somebody who obviously don't like me. But I'm going to show up and get the check, do the job, and go home. And that's what Lucky did. However, I do feel like Big Lex went for trouble. I feel like she showed up to that Zeus event looking for trouble. And she got what she wanted. And I just hope it doesn't backfire on Lucky. I really hope that, doesn't backfire on her. And I hope Big Lex doesn't shit on her. But I don't know. I don't know Big Lex like that. So whatever happens between them two happens. I have a feeling that we won't see much of Lucky anymore. I don't think she'll be on Zeus again after this. Now, next we see footage of Joseline being released from jail, from Broward County. And she's running out and she's hugging Ballistic and Andrea, Miss Natural, Danny, and Yummy. They fly back to New York. Speaking of Andrea, I told y'all I was going to try to interview some of the girls from the Cabaret. I reached out to Andrea and we had a conversation in the DMs. And I reached out to Wet Wet too, but Wet Wet hasn't responded, so I don't know. But Andrea said she only does in-person interviews, which I thought was kind of odd. I'm like, first of all, an in-person interview requires you being flown out, you being put in a hotel. And who's paying for that? I'm sure nobody is paying for Andrea on Joseline's Cabaret to be flown out, putting up in a hotel, and do an in-person interview. No shade, Andrea, because I love you on the show, but baby girl, you're not Joseline. If I was messaging Joseline asking her to do an interview and she said I only do in-person interviews, I could understand it. You know what I'm saying? If that's what she wanted to do. She's more of a public figure, a known public figure. Andrea, this is your first time on television. I mean, we don't really know much about you, boo. And that's why I'm trying to get you on After Dark, so we can introduce you to even more people and even, a different audience and get to know you more outside of the Cabaret. But you want to do only, I don't know, I don't fault Andrea for it. That's her decision. I don't like her any less because of it. I'm not mad at her for it. I'm just confused because I don't know of anybody else that's trying to interview her. Just saying. No shade. So when the 4 girls that performed in Miami get back, they see all the the other girls in the cabaret back at the house. They greet them. Everybody's hugging, you know. We're so glad y'all are back. They ask the girls how the private jet ride went, and Yummy immediately calls Miss Natural out and lets the house know that, well, the private jet would have been nice if Miss Natural wasn't in everybody's face yelling, acting a fool. And I'm like, okay, Yummy, call it out. In this moment, I'm Team Yummy. I was Team Yummy on the jet too, because like I said it before, what has been going on with Miss Natural? What is wrong with her? You know what I'm saying? Why is she acting the way she's been acting? This is not the Miss Natural that I grew to love 2 seasons ago. Now, Natural's trying to defend herself, and even Danny, little quiet Danny, that's been Miss Natural's shadow the whole time. Danny goes in for Natural. And I was surprised. I mean, she goes in on Natural. And I'm like, okay, Danny, come on now. You finally speaking up. I was proud of Danny this episode because the entire time, anything Natural says, Danny's been like, yep, yeah, I appreciate her for standing up for herself. Hold Natural accountable. Hold that hoe accountable. And then here go Natural. I had a great time. I was having a good time until I got stomped and trampled on. And I was sick and throwing up the day of the show. But I still got on stage and performed. Just so negative. If negative were a person, it would be Miss Natural. Just like a whole negative vibe. One big dark cloud. Like, girl, we ain't here for that. We just flew to Miami on a private fucking jet. The fuck? Like, miss me with that. Oh, you know how many... I would have killed to have been on that private jet with them. And she over here complaining. Now, Joseline gets back to Miami. She's in her hotel room talking to Ballistic. They're getting ready to head to rehearsals with the girls. And obviously, Joseline hasn't learned anything from the situation with her and Big Lex. Because not even fresh 24 hours out of jail, she lands back in New York and she's wearing a mugshot t-shirt with her mugshot on it. Now, granted, she looks good in the mugshot. She looks pretty. She does, and it's actually pretty good marketing to make to make those shirts and sell them. I'm sure she can make a lot of money on it. But it also, if I was a judge or I was her attorney, I would be cringing right now. Like, what? Like, come on now. It makes Joseline look like she's taking it as a joke. You know, if I was the judge over her trial, over her case, when she went to trial, I would say, it doesn't look like you take, you know, it doesn't look like you take this too serious. Because you're wearing t-shirts with your mugshot on it. Now, the girls go to the studio and they're rehearsing for the cabaret because they're going to be performing at Starlet's. A select few girls will be performing at Starlet's in New York. And they get to the studio and they get to rehearsing and Joseline shows up. And she notices that some of the girls are missing, right? She notices that Abby and Lucky are missing. Now, I told y'all before that Joseline was low-key transphobic and homophobic, right? And I know a lot of people may think that's a stretch, but I truly feel it. The way she's in that police body cam footage when she called those cops the word that rhymes with maggot, the way that she's, the little microaggressive thing she said about Abby, she did it this episode. She doesn't support us. Joseline doesn't support us. She does support us for clout. She does support the LGBT community because it's the in thing to do. And pride is celebrated and things like that. So she's all of a sudden bisexual. But Joseline says when she finds out that Abby has left the show, she says, "Damn, Abby, I opened up the doors for you because you're a trans girl. And you leave without saying anything? You're supposed to have balls, bitch." Well, damn. Now, I get, listen, some people probably laughed at it if they thought it was funny, haha. But to people in this community, to trans people, it's harmful. It's harmful for them. You know, it may be funny to some, yes, I get it, whatever. But this girl came on your show, was proud to be the first trans girl. Even you even took her to the bathroom and wanted to see her genitalia. She was vulnerable to you. She opened up to you. She showed you literally her scars. And you take that moment and weaponize it against her and try to embarrass her on your platform because she decided to go home because her family member, her sibling, was in a severe car accident. If Bonnie Bella was in a car accident, you don't think your ass would be on the first private jet to Miami or to wherever she was? I would be if it was my family, so I don't blame Abby. I thought it was very disgusting, distasteful, and really showed Jocelyn's true colors, to be honest. I tried telling people she don't stand for us. We're convenient for her. We're accessories for her. She loves us when we're doing her hair or choreographing her show or doing her makeup or producing a show for her. And, you know, some people could say, lighten up, Damien, she was just making a joke. But seriously, like, this is why people fight for LGBTQ rights and stand up for us to have rights and things like that, especially trans people, because comments like these are made. Joseline, what if I said you look like you have balls? You a big woman. I'm sure she'd be offended, right? It's just gutter snipe. She's a gutter snipe. That's what Joseline is. She'll snipe you when you least expect it from the gutter. Low. I'll stand by what I said, honestly. You can take the girl out of the slums, but you can't take the slums out of the girl. And that's Miss Puerto Rican Princess Joseline Hernandez, okay? I didn't like how she did Abby because Abby caused no problems, cool chick, and you go for her like that. Now, Joseline tells the 4 girls that went to Miami with her that she bought them gifts. She got each of the girls gifts. Did y'all see how Danny was walking when Joseline said, "I got you girls gifts"? Danny walked over like this to her gift. I'm like, if I was Joseline, I would have said, "Sit your ass down. You ain't getting this gift since you want to try to show out." I just didn't get it. It was so random. Like, maybe she was just trying to be cute and funny, but she was like a fucking kid. Really? Really, Danny? Miss Center of Attention? Now, so the girls start rehearsing. They're doing their and the 4 core girls, the 4 main girls, Miss Natural, Yummy, Andrea, and Danny, they aren't doing their best. They're all over the place. They're not catching on to the choreography that Ricardo is trying to teach them. And Joseline says, look, well, actually, Danny hurt her leg, so she's not dancing. Spin took Danny's place. So those 4 girls are up there, and they aren't doing the best. So Joseline says, I'm going to replace one of y'all. Spin, go sit down. She replaces her with Egypt. Egypt comes up. She does the dance. She kills the dance. So Joseline chooses her to be a part of the main 4 girls. And she takes Spin's spot. And then we end up seeing next week the girls do their big performance at Starlet's. It looks like everything goes off well. It looks like that next week is going to be a good episode. A lot of positive energy, a lot of fun moments, a lot of celebrating. I'm really excited to see how the next week's episode go. Joseline sort of spoiled the season and gave away who won the cabaret because she posted on her Instagram that she's going on tour, and it had the girls that were going on tour with her on the video, so it kind of gave it away. I'm not going to say here, but if you want to go, if you want to know the spoiler, you can go to her Instagram and find that out. But we're going to wrap this after show up here, and now at the 30-minute mark, I want to know what you guys thought of tonight's episode. Make sure you join the conversation below and let me know, what do you guys think about the fight between Big Lex and Joseline? And do you blame Lucky for leaving the cabaret? What do you think about Lucky leaving the cabaret? Do you guys agree with me when I say that it was all a business deal and she was just there for the money and that was it? What do you think about Big Lex and Lucky's friendship? Is it genuine? Is it that the real reason Lucky left? I want to hear from you guys. Let me know about that. What do you guys also think about Joseline's comments towards Abby and Abby leaving? What do you guys think about that? And how do y'all feel about Abby leaving the cabaret? Are you going to miss Abby? Or do you not care at all if Abby's there? I want to hear from you on that as well. Make sure you guys join the conversation, get subscribed, turn on your post notifications so you never miss a beat or when I go live. And you can donate to the channel by clicking the description box below. You can use PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, or Zelle. I also have my Amazon wish list below as well. Thank you guys so much for supporting. If you want to go check out the Baddies East after show, we did that live tonight. You can go check it out. It's available on my channel now. I love you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Damien After Dark. See ya.